Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I am your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. I'm pulling double duty for the second time this week. I love it. This is the best week of the year for wrestling fans, and I'm here to talk about Smackdown, the Hall of Fame, and NXT Stand and Deliver. Hopefully I'm sounding good right now. I am feeling good right now because Smackdown, I don't know if it's the mics or what, but this crowd seemed hotter than Supercard of Honor. I might have been a little harsh on Supercard of Honor. I enjoyed it, but you know, I ranked it a C more or less in Twitter polls, and people are saying I'm confused. I don't know what you are looking for in the world of wrestling, and I don't know, guys. Maybe I watched the show at a bad time. I'm not sure, but to me, you can get those same quality of matches weekly on Dynamite, and there was no, other than the main event, there was no big moment. Remember 2 years ago, Samoa Joe debuted, and we had like the Bucks and the Briscoes tease and all kinds of stuff, and that amazing FTR Briscoes match. Nothing really lived up to that hype in the modern era of the Supercard of Honor to me this year. That's just me talking. I don't watch week to week though, so maybe if I watched week to week, I would be hooked. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal, the final two, Ibar and Bronson Reed, moonsault no one home, Reed able to hit the Rolling Thunder, and then your 2024 Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner, Bronson Reed. You gotta love it. What does this mean for his career? Nothing. We've had guys like Claudio, Big Show, Baron Corbin. I think Mojo Rawley won one year, and then you kind of stopped paying attention to it after that because you realized that it was just something there to get everyone out there and wrestle. And once everyone realized that that's all it was there for, they put it on SmackDown, and I think it's good to be on SmackDown. It's good to be on the SmackDown edition of the Hall of Fame, the WrestleMania edition of SmackDown every year. I think that's a good spot for it, but it does take away some of the luster of it. More on SmackDown, obviously, they're just hyping up WrestleMania. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton outsmart Waller, Theory, and Logan Paul to hit the RKO on Logan Paul, almost solidifying, I think, Logan Paul's victory tonight. Jey Uso about to beat Solo, but before he can, Jimmy attacks him. Cody and Seth come out to the aid of Yeet himself, Jey Uso, and then they start whipping the shit out of Jimmy and Solo with the weight belt, much like the Bloodline did to them on Raw. Whoop that trick chance. You gotta love it. I also love the Hall of Fame. It's just cool. There really isn't a lot of news coming out of the Hall of Fame. I feel like there's a lot of, shoot interviews and Dark Sides of the Ring type series and everything like that where if you love the history of wrestling, you definitely watch, but it's not as fun, doesn't make you feel good for liking and enjoying wrestling like the WWE Hall of Fame does. The Undertaker inducting Muhammad Ali, I felt like that was kind of random. That might be the biggest news coming out of it, is that the Undertaker is there in Philly. Maybe something will happen. We don't know. There's that slot in WrestleMania that's rumored to have, names like Cena, Taker, Stone Cold all come out. Who knows? Let's just go into Stand and Deliver. My thoughts, metaphor, enjoying the restaurant that the Don eats at, sitting back in the Chase U classroom, kind of paying homage to all the other factions that are in NXT. This wasn't good, but they were good in it, if you know what I'm saying. They also come out and announce that this is the largest NXT show ever, 16,545,000 fans. Ava announces a women's North American championship on the line. That would be, that's good. As I said, that NXT showcases women more than any other weekly television show in North America. And here it is, the North American Women's Championship. Speaking of women in NXT, we've kind of been, heavily hinting at this throughout the week as this story is unfolded. But Julia in the crowd, she seems genuinely humbled that people were cheering for her when they showed her sitting next to William Regal. Ogawa, the founder of Stardom, was sitting right next to William Regal as well. I mean, there you have it, folks. I guess she is WWE bound officially. There was another text vignette, but after the last text vignette, guy that we saw, Sean Spears, lost in the pre-show of this show. I'm not going to get too excited about it until we see who it is. Javon Evans. This is crazy to see. This man, I saw wrestle since he was a kid. I don't know him personally or anything like that, but I would go to these shows. Firestar Pro Wrestling, put on by LeBron Cozon. You see him sometimes in AEW. Had guys like Griff Garrison come out of it. Had guys like Alex Cross come out of it, who you see sometimes in Ring of Honor. It was this kid on the show. He used to and then you just see him kind of come into his own when he wrestles for promotions like DPW in Durham, jumping off of balconies and whatnot. And he was just always seemed like a hyperactive kid who was super athletic, and he was like incredibly skinny, but obviously he put on a little weight, and he's flying all around. He's been on Level Up, and here he is, gets his own vignette on Stand and Deliver WrestleMania weekend. It's like I said, I don't know this guy personally. I know a few people that do, and I can only imagine what they're feeling right now. I feel this odd sense of accomplishment just by seeing it and witnessing a guy go from literally just a fan, a child, to being a child who wrestles, to being a teenager with a lot of promise, being a guy who is in NXT. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to see. Dreams coming true on WrestleMania weekend, from the smallest level all the way to the highest level. You gotta love it. But let's rank every single match from worst to first. We had 7 big matches, and the worst is the women's 6-man. Thea Hale, Fallon Henley, Kalana Jordan, JC Jane, Kiana James, and Izzy Dame. They all start brawling at the early going as the ref gains control. Both teams try to gain the upper hand. They cut the ring in half. Kalani in trouble. She needs a tag. She's doing a lot of sloppy shit. She gets the tag. Fallon Henley gets in there with the hot tag. Takes out the other ladies. Kiana hits a Spanish Fly. 1-2, no. Duke Hudson at ringside catches the member of Chase U. Gets a little pop there from the Philly crowd. All ladies down. Thea Hale telling JC Jane to suck it. Former Chase U leader versus the upstart in Chase U going at it. And then Thea locks in the Kimura lock to Izzy, and Izzy taps. This match was okay, sloppy at times, but good match on a really good show. The pre-show match, like I mentioned, Sean Spears versus Joe Gacy, 2 guys that have been around the block here. Spears, a guy who made a big splash, but then kind of fell off after he appeared, and now he's on the pre-show, and we'll get into a little bit more. Gacy hitting a lion salt, which is kind of cool. Spears getting frustrated and then getting hit with a lariat. 1-2-3. Gacy wins. Ridge Holland, the guy who lost his smile, attacks Gacy after the match. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, Sean Spears has a job, but it feels like he has no hype only a few months after debuting or re-debuting in NXT. Number 5, the Wolf Dogs versus Axiom and Frazier. Axiom and Frazier dive on the champs as they make their way down the aisle. Action going back and forth, but the High Flyers are lighting up this crowd. Springboard 450, 1-2, no. Breaker kicks out, and then Corbin goes up top and lands a wild cross body. Corbin going up top, 1-2. Frazier kicks out. Chokeslam to both men on the announcer's desk, but that only sets up the men to land on the announcer's desk and come flying off of it. Back in the ring, Phoenix Splash. 1-2. Corbin kicks out. End of days into a spear. The guy is dead. 1-2-3. The Wolf Dogs retain. Number 4, Roxanne Perez versus Lana Valkyria. Roxanne working the arm of the champ. Champ in trouble, but not giving up. But the one-arm champ is getting the momentum and goes up top. But Roxanne, pulls her down, gets her outside, hits a tornado DDT to the floor. Pop rocks. 1-2, no. Paxley shows up. Distracts Roxanne. Lila climbs up top. Philly chaining for Roxanne. She jumps. No one home. Crossface. The champ tries to slip out, but she gets caught in the crossface again in the middle of the ring, and she taps out Roxanne Perez, new NXT Women's Champion. Solid match, but did not make the podium. What did make the podium, the main event, Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams. Carmelo in the Black Panther gear, getting booed. All of Philly wants the hometown boy to whoop that Trick. Bell rings. They go into the crowd. Carmelo knocks the hat off of Trick's dad. Back in the ring, Carmelo controlling the pace, but the pace picks up as Trick Williams gets the momentum. Carmelo going up top, gets caught by a neck breaker. Big boot, 1-2, no. Stinger splash. Carmelo moves ref down. Chop blocks Trick, gets a chair. The chair gets fought away from Carmelo. Trick able to use the chair. Ref wakes up, pulls the chair away, puts the chair on the outside. But as he's putting the chair on the outside, Trick Williams with a low blow. Real dick move here, if you know what I'm saying. And then Carmelo, still unable to get the pin, goes for a knee. Trick ducks down. Ref down again. Second ref out there. 1-2. Trick kicks out. Carmelo is getting pissed here. Starts yelling at the ref. Boom. Trick D connects. 1, 2, 3. Crowd going nuts. Whoop that Trick echoes to the halls of the Wells Fargo Center. Great way to end the show. But I gotta say, I might have been overhyped for this match here. Trick Williams is a great character and a good wrestler. Where I think this moment, in order to take the cake and be number one on this show, you needed to have a great wrestler, or maybe one great wrestler and two good wrestlers here, because the second best match on the show, the North American Championship match, Briggs versus Dijak versus Obi Femi. Champ outpowering the other two big men, throwing them around on the outside, throwing them onto each other on the outside. They hit a double chokeslam on the big guy, and then they start to work together, and then he chokeslams them both at the same damn time. The crowd does that like Goldberg or Wardlow. So that shows you that this NXT crowd likes Obi Femi, and I like Obi Femi too. I gotta say, I mean, he's big, he's athletic, he's got a good character. He's not boring. He's not this big, like Vince McMahon era boring big man. He's got a lot of promise. They said this is his 9th wrestling match. So, I mean, comparing that to like Jade, who we got to see develop in front of our eyes, push to this degree with the TBS championship, I would say he's a lot better than Jade, or on par with Jade, but being covered up a little better in NXT as opposed to AEW. Let me get back to where I'm at here. Triple threat strike battle here leads to a cover from Dijak, 1-2. Briggs kicks out, and then Dijak hits a destroyer onto Briggs. So two big men flying around like this is insane to see. Obi Femi then picks up Dijak in like he's about to do the Doomsday Device, like he's gonna, he's the base of the Doomsday Device, but Dijak already has Briggs in a fireman's carry position on his shoulders. So Obi Femi is legitimately picking up two large motherfuckers here, and then he falls on his side so that Dijak is able to hit the Death Valley Driver onto Briggs. This was probably the spot that made this number 2. This was crazy. This was the spot of the night. Jesus Christ. Obi Femi power bombs one onto the other. 1, 2, 3. He retains. Great match here. This kind of woke up the crowd here. I felt like, there was the pre-show match, and then there was the tag match. So people were like, oh, this is cool. But this match, I think, really had this crowd come alive and made them realize that they are at NXT, stand and deliver the biggest NXT show ever right before they're about to go to WrestleFucking-Mania. Number 1, though, the world title match. Not the main event on the show, second from the top, but it was great. Ilya Dragunov versus the Don, Tony D'Angelo. Action spills to the floor, and then again to the floor. The Don in control, Champ landing chops on the already borderline crippled hand. Brass knucks almost come into play, but they don't think better of it. Landing strikes to the back of the head. The Don is in trouble. Stacks gets on the apron. The Don gets him down. Both men tear the table apart, the announcer's desk apart, and then H-bomb on the outside. H-bomb through a table. Back in the ring, Champ dives on the Don but the Don is able to turn it into a power bomb. 1, 2, stomps on the head, on the hand here of the champion, slams him. 1, 2, no, Tony D'Angelo not able to get the victory. H-bomb off the top. 1, 2, 3. Standing ovation here. Great match here. I don't know, you just really have to see these nuances of how good Ilya Dragunov is with his selling. And he had, of course, the gimmick of the hand being hurt, and then also the storyline kind of within the storyline of NXT here is Tony D'Angelo, a guy that we've seen do this character, this gimmick for, over a year now, is like kind of proving that he could be a main event player in NXT on the biggest stage that NXT has all year. So I thought that was cool, and I thought Dragunov was good, and this show is pretty good here. I would say, it was on par with Supercard of Honor, but my expectations were lower. So I guess it's the beneficiary of lower expectations. I would have to say, out of the 2 wrestling shows I watched today already before WrestleMania, this one gets the slight edge over Supercard of Honor for me. But you know what? I could be swayed either way. God damn, do I love pro wrestling. I'm about to watch my 3rd wrestling show of the day, or 4th, really. I forgot. I've watched New Japan. And I also caught up with Smackdown. So this is technically the 4th wrestling show of the day for me, and it's my favorite so far. And I'm going to tune into WrestleMania. Fly high. I'm out.